seen the world. You've driven different projects. We know you from F1. You joined us. Now you change roles. You're becoming a brand ambassador. You're still busy like hell. When you look at us, looking back, how Andreas, Fritz, we all together created this. And truly speaking to the audience, what makes the difference? What makes us being so successful as what each just showed on the slide?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. We've raced here for many years, and as we've seen in the opener, it's a pretty emotional weekend for the whole team to finish this weekend for the whole operation, and we're going to try and go out as on a high note as we possibly can. So it's not a normal weekend for us by any means. Let us guys tell you that. For me, Carl, I think the biggest thing was what we created at WEC and at Porsche. We knew how a group of people, and it doesn't matter if you've got the Porsche T-shirt on, or of course you have good funding and good backing, but then you have to create a culture, which is not easy to do. So we had the right people to create that culture. The culture has to be a winning mentality. If you've got a winning mentality and you've got to look at the processes and the 1%ers that are going to make a difference, then you've got to make a difference on Sunday afternoon. So that's what we got over time. Of course, the first year was a bit tricky in sections, and that's normal because when you're experimenting, you're not going to get always everything right. But after that, it was very rewarding to put. I love seeing us put pressure on Audi immediately, because obviously that was the benchmark for us. Audi were on fire and they did a really good job, and for us to come in at short notice and really stand up against them was fantastic. So I think made the culture, all the nationalities of the people, this was something that was very new for us to deal with. And we didn't rest on our laurels. And when we had good results, even 1-2s, you saw 7 1-2 victories, which is not easy at this level against the competition we had. We celebrated, but Monday morning it was back to the stopwatch, and that was what the team was very, very good.
What I very much like about this is that we try to make ourselves, and everyone, and you did this with us, Andreas, make us podium people, make us winning people, believe in what we did. Still, same question as I addressed to Timo. When you look back, that is not me, this is you. When you look back at this 34 races, and yes, we added another pole position, so we made it not 19, we made it actually 20 today. Still, what is your moment as team principal?
For me, definitely, the highlight of this project was the first win with Porsche with the 919 hybrid again at Le Mans in 2015. We worked so hard to get there since the beginning of the project. It was the biggest operation I was ever involved in, also in motorsport. We went there with 3 cars the first time. And to get these more than 100 people under control for 2 weeks, being down there at Le Mans in this cage. At some point you only see this as a cage and not as a garage anymore. Was really, really tough, but the team did really, really well. We went through the race with 3 cars without any technical issues. We had the speed also to win the race, and also in terms of operation, pit stops and so on, we clearly were the benchmark first time, and that was really very, very satisfying. And then go away there with a overall 17th win for Porsche after quite a long time being away from there, fighting for the overall victory was very, very special for me, and I think for every single member that was part of this race event.
It's for every one of us, and for all of you who witnessed, who has been there, I think we all agree we'll never ever forget 15 in Le Mans. Before we get too much into this crying moment, because I can feel this with myself already, if we're finishing this as professionals tomorrow with a 6-hour race, we're looking ahead to 2018. Obviously everyone is aware what the plans are, but will we see the 919 hybrid being displayed racing, some activities in 18? What's the plan?
Well, as mentioned before, definitely tomorrow will be the last, let's say, racing event with the 919 hybrid. But I think you all have seen as well the hashtag which is on the car this weekend, which says tribute. We're still working on the details of what we plan next year with the 919 hybrid, but I think you can all look forward to let's say a special tour that we plan next year, some special events where we see the 919 hybrid again in operation. And we want to use that to celebrate, let's say, ourselves as a team, to celebrate the 919 hybrid, to celebrate Porsche, and hopefully a lot of you guys also come by and celebrate together with us this great time we had in this car.
So the 919 stays alive somehow? the people we stay alive, which is also important, that we can work still together as a group. What I think is interesting for the audience, for you people, is what happens with the drivers. Are we simply leaving them, they go, what happens? Do they stay? Is there a comment from your end?
No, the important message is that all the drivers that we have on board now, they will stay within the Porsche family. A huge part of the success we had in the last 4 years was clearly down to the sensational drivers we had on board. All the guys that were involved throughout these 5 years in total did sensational performances. Hardly any mistakes on track, which is difficult in this environment with these speed differences of cars and so on. We also have, and the competition is Toyota and Audi we had. They clearly made the difference compared to Audi and Toyota also in terms of their performances, and we are very, very happy that they will stay with us. Details of regarding the program for each of the guys is still something we discuss at the moment, and we will finalize in the next weeks. But I'm sure that we will win together many, many more races in whatever Porsche race car in the future with the guys we have on board.
So we can outline that we will not have 6 other brand ambassadors like Mr. Weber next year. This is for sure. We touched future. We're talking future. Obviously, we have announced that we prepare for Formula E with the same approach as we did for WEC. And if we look at you, Mr. Weber, looking at Formula E, some thoughts about this, I would say, very little or rising championship, which is in season 3. We're entering season 6. Expectations?
Well, I think the timing will be pretty much spot on. I think that it's a championship that's still evolving. Everyone is still working out, even with Alejandro and the team at Formula E in terms of locations and consistencies, and they're getting a very, very strong platform in place now for the media too, the manufacturers that are right behind it, which is exciting. And there's going to be probably no other championship that has that many manufacturers involved in it in the world. So that's a huge statement and extremely exciting. So when they can drop on to the one vehicle and looking at the range and the batteries and the power and those type of things, how it's going to shake out by the time that we're going to have our Porsche hat on, I think it's going to be extremely exciting. And the synergies for us Monday to Friday, of course, with the Mission E car coming along, and there's some great learnings for us, which we still, of course, have of the 990, the 800 volt systems and all these processes we can put into the formula racing. And that's a big thing for us, going actually formula racing compared to sports car racing. So we're under no illusion it's going to be a tough fight in the championship. But it fits very well with Porsche, with electromobility going forward. And we take this show to the people, which is downtown.
Which will be completely different to us also in operations. So we really need to dive into this and we need to learn. Mark, you said there is no other championship with so many manufacturers. Well, there is one championship in this world where everyone is talking about, this is F1. There's tons of rumors, Porsche is in F1 in 19, Brendan is there, the whole thing is done, it's a deal. So, Mr. Seidl, it's a yes or it's a no?
It's clearly no. It's definitely just a rumor which is around. We have, let's say, a clear decision, or we got a clear decision in July from our board of Porsche, which was saying that we will leave the LMP1 business at the end of this year, and at the same time we start preparing Formula E, and then to Formula E then in season 6. At the same time, we will strengthen also our efforts on the GT side, and this is the program we are working on flat out now at the moment.
Now, preparing Formula E in season 3, yes, manufacturers joining, championship is changing, is improving, is growing. How do we prepare as an organization, as a team for something which happens in 19?
To be honest, it's still early days on our side regarding Formula E, because the good thing is with the decision that we only enter in season 6, we have time now. For us, it was important to keep the focus now on finishing this championship on a high, which we luckily managed with the 2 titles, and now we will use the next weeks and month to really go into detail regarding Formula E, to understand what is Formula E, what does it mean in terms of resources, in terms of infrastructure, number of people and so on. And then once we have understood this, we will make the right calls in terms of how we want to attack it with the structure and so on. But I can assure you we will try to put up exactly the same again as we did here in the LMP1 business. We want to be able to be competitive straight from the first race onwards. We want to do everything again out of Weissach, not just the development but also the racing business again, because we clearly think that's, let's say, the most promising way in terms of being successful.
I can assure you, as being a member of this team, this is the beauty, that we all are sitting in Weissach, that we are not separated to different facilities, we are all at the same place, and we make this run as a big group of people. Now coming back to where we are, season final 2017, Mr. Bernhard. A bit of a recap on qualifying, please.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we have a pole position. I mean, sister car of us, a clinch pole position. And we have the car that I share with Bernhard and Bernhard, we went Toyota sandwich on P3. And that means, I mean, it's going to be an interesting race tomorrow. The positive point is that both Porsche are on the inside line for the first corner, so we think that's going to be a good place to be in order to capitalize from it. But I think what we saw in the long runs, and I mean, for sure, every one of you know, I mean, it's going to be a race that will start at quite a high temperature and will go into the night, and so there's quite a temperature drop. So it's quite critical here because it's a high tire deck track, so it's quite difficult to set the car up, not only for free drivers but also for the track layout and the roughness of the track. So that's going to be the key. Who is the most gentle to the tires? So I think we're going to see a close fight with Toyotas, maybe a little bit of different strategies between the two manufacturers, but for sure I can promise you we'll give it everything to give, to send off the car or the 919 Hybrid in style for the last race. And I mean, I personally can only say it's an honor to have been part in this program with such great people, teammates like Mark and Brendan and Earl that I had in the past couple of years, and this great success we had together, and this is something, a great high in my career.